Aldi shoppers do not have trust issues for no reason. You fall in love with one snack, one creamer, or one freezer meal, and suddenly Aldi starts acting like it never knew you. No warning, no explanation. Just an empty shelf and a price tag that disappeared like evidence. That is why shopping at Aldi feels part grocery trip, part treasure hunt, part emotional damage. Today, we are counting down 15 Aldi products being phased out before summer. Some are already gone, some are vanishing quietly. And number one is the kind of product you do not remove unless you are ready for angry coffee drinkers. Number 15. Millville Cinnamon Balance Multigrain Cereal. The first product being phased out is Millville Cinnamon Balance Multigrain Cereal. This one hurts because it was not just another cereal box. It was Aldi's answer to that sweet, cinnamon, slightly grown-up breakfast cereal people could eat without feeling like they were pouring candy into a bowl. Aldi has plenty of cereals, but not every cereal fills the same job. Some are for children, some are plain, some are too sugary, some taste like cardboard pretending to be healthy. Millville Cinnamon Balance sat in that middle space. It had sweetness, crunch, and that cinnamon flavor people could depend on. Then it started vanishing. That is the cruel part about Aldi. A product can feel permanent until it suddenly does not. There may be no dramatic announcement, no warning sign, no goodbye tour. You just walk in one day, look where the box used to be, and realize the shelf has moved on without you. For regular shoppers, this is more annoying than it sounds. Breakfast is a habit. People do not want to rethink breakfast every week. They want the box that works. Millville Cinnamon Balance was one of those quiet routine products. Not flashy, not viral, just useful. The next product proves that dairy-free shoppers may have taken one Aldi favorite for granted too soon. Number 14. Friendly Farms. Chocolate Almond Milk. Friendly Farms? Chocolate almond milk is another product shoppers were not ready to lose. This was not just a drink. For some people, it was the easy dairy-free treat that made Aldi feel complete. That matters because plant-based and dairy-free shoppers already have to read labels, compare stores, and figure out which products actually taste good. When they find one that works, they do not want it to disappear. Chocolate almond milk fills a very specific gap. It is not plain almond milk. It is not oat milk. It is not regular chocolate milk. It is the kind of product that can work for breakfast, smoothies, kids, coffee experiments, or a late-night cold drink when you want something sweet but not too heavy. Aldi still carries other almond milk options in many places, but that does not fully solve the problem. Plain almond milk plus chocolate syrup is not the same thing emotionally. It feels like homework. The whole point of buying the chocolate version was that it was already done. That is why shoppers get frustrated when products like this disappear. Aldi saves people money because it simplifies shopping. Once the shopper has to go to another store just to replace one missing item, the convenience starts breaking apart. Friendly Farms. Chocolate. Almond milk may not sound dramatic to everyone. To the people who relied on it, it was one less reason to leave Aldi. Now that reason is gone. If you have ever lost an Aldi product that was part of your weekly routine, hit the like button now because the next one proves snack lovers are not safe either. Number 13. Savor It's Baked Cheese. Extra Toasty Crackers. Savor It's Baked Cheese. Extra toasty crackers were the kind of snack people did not expect to get emotional about. Then they disappeared. These were Aldi's extra toasty cheese crackers, the kind of snack that made people say, "Why would I pay more for the name brand when this does the job?" Aldi is strongest when it gives you the feeling of a familiar name brand item without the name brand price. These crackers did that. They had the deeper baked flavor, the salty crunch, and the slightly overdone taste that extra toasty fans actually want. Regular cheese crackers can feel flat once someone loves the extra toasty style. The darker flavor is the point. The crunch is the point. The little edge of almost burnt flavor is the whole personality. When Aldi removes that version and leaves other flavors behind, shoppers do not feel like they still have options. They feel like the good one was taken. It shows the difference between a category and a favorite. Aldi may still sell crackers. Aldi may still sell cheese crackers. That does not mean shoppers feel replaced. Sometimes a store thinks it removed one flavor. The shopper feels like it removed the only one that mattered. The next product is another snack, But this one had a sharper personality and a fan base that noticed immediately. Number 12. Southern Grove Wasabi. Soy-flavored almonds. Southern Grove Wasabi. Soy-flavored almonds were not a boring pantry snack. That is why people miss them. Aldi has plenty of nuts. Almonds are not hard to find. Honey roasted, salted, raw, lightly salted, mixed nuts, trail mixes, all of that still exists. The problem is that wasabi soy almonds were doing something different. They were sharp, salty, savory, and just unusual enough to feel like an Aldi discovery. That is the kind of product Aldi shoppers love finding. Not because it is basic, but because it makes the cart feel smarter. You grab a bag once out of curiosity, then suddenly it becomes the snack you expect to see every time. That is how the trap works. Aldi trains shoppers to fall in love with specific flavors, then sometimes those flavors vanish without giving people time to stock up. Wasabi soy almonds were not just almonds. They were the snack for people who wanted something with bite. They worked at a desk, in a lunch bag, with drinks, on a road trip, or during that dangerous hour when dinner is not ready yet and you start eating random things from the pantry. You can buy plain almonds. You can buy other seasoned nuts. You can probably find wasabi soy snacks somewhere else. The issue is the Aldi price and convenience disappearing together. The next product moves from the pantry to the freezer, and it may be one of the saddest dessert losses on the list. Number 11. Sunday Shop. Thank you, Cherry, much. Ice cream. Sunday Shop. Thank you, Cherry, much. Ice cream had the kind of name people remember. It was Aldi's cherry ice cream moment, and shoppers quickly connected it to the idea of a cheaper Cherry Garcia-style treat. Cherry ice cream with chocolate pieces has a very loyal audience. It is not just vanilla with a different label. It is a specific craving. That is why this one caused confusion. Some shoppers thought it was discontinued. Others wondered if it had just become seasonal. That is a very Aldi kind of mystery. A product disappears, comes back for a moment, disappears again, and suddenly nobody knows whether to mourn it or wait for it. Thank you, Cherry, much was also the kind of item that made Aldi feel fun. It was not basic ice cream. It felt like a treat you discovered. Aldi's freezer aisle works best when it gives shoppers that feeling. Something familiar, but cheaper and slightly surprising. Losing that kind of product makes the store feel less playful. There are still other Sunday Shop options, of course. Aldi is not running out of ice cream. The problem is that cherry ice cream fans are not asking for any ice cream. They are asking for that one. The next freezer loss is not sweet at all, but it was the kind of easy dinner item people notice when it disappears. Number 10. Mama Cozy's Stone Baked. 4-cheese pizza. Mama Cozy's Stone Baked. 4-cheese pizza is the kind of Aldi product that sounds ordinary until it is gone. Frozen pizza is one of Aldi's strongest categories. There are thin crust pizzas, rising crust pizzas, take and bake pizzas, French bread pizzas, calzones, and rotating Aldi finds. So losing one cheese pizza might not sound like a big deal. It is a big deal when it was your safe pizza. That is how shoppers talk about products like this. A safe food is not always the most exciting food. It is the one you know will work when you are tired, broke, busy, or not in the mood to gamble with dinner. The stone-baked 4-cheese pizza had a simple job. It was not trying to be weird. It was not loaded with trendy toppings. It was just a dependable freezer pizza with enough cheese and enough flavor to feel like an easy win. Aldi shoppers often build emergency meals around them. One pizza in the freezer can save a weeknight. It can feed a child who refuses everything else. It can stop a takeout order. It can turn a tired evening into dinner without drama. When that item disappears, the freezer section still looks full, but the shopper feels the hole. The next product was even more seasonal, and that makes its disappearance harder to read. Number 9. Deutsche Küche, Bavarian Bratwurst. Deutsche Küche. Bavarian Bratwurst is exactly the kind of product Aldi shoppers expect Aldi to do well. Aldi has German roots. German Week is one of the store's most loved seasonal events. When shoppers see Deutsche Küche on a package, they expect something a little more special than a normal grocery store sausage. That is why the Bavarian Bratwurst disappearing from regular reach feels frustrating. This is not the same as losing a random hot dog. Bratwurst has a season, a mood, and a place. It belongs at cookouts, fall meals, Oktoberfest-style dinners, quick skillet meals, and backyard weekends when people want something better than the usual. The strange thing is that products like this can feel both discontinued and seasonal at the same time. They may vanish for months, they may return during German Week, they may show up in some stores and not others. Aldi shoppers know this game, but knowing the game does not make it less annoying. If shoppers cannot tell whether a product is gone for good or just hiding until the next seasonal event, they cannot plan around it. That is especially true before summer, when grilling products start mattering more. If you love a specific bratwurst, you want to know whether it will be there when cookout season begins. The next item is smaller, sweeter, and easier to miss until you realize Aldi may have removed a whole chocolate habit. Number 8. Schogetten chocolate bars. Schogetten. Chocolate bars were not just another candy bar. They were one of those European treats that made Aldi feel like Aldi. Aldi shoppers do not only go there for cheap milk and eggs. They go there for the little imported surprises that make the trip feel different from a normal supermarket. Schogetten had that feeling. The bars were portioned, smooth, and interesting enough to feel like something you would pick up as a treat or a small gift. Then they became harder to find. For shoppers who loved them, that was not just a chocolate problem. It was an Aldi identity problem. Aldi without the occasional European chocolate discovery feels less special. You can buy chocolate anywhere. You cannot always buy affordable German-style chocolate in easy little pieces without going to a specialty store or paying online prices. It is the reason why Schogetten's disappearance feels bigger than the candy aisle. It represents the kind of imported product shoppers fear Aldi is quietly moving away from when prices, supply chains, and shelf space get complicated. There may still be other chocolates at Aldi. Some are excellent. Aldi's chocolate section is still stronger than many people expect. Specific chocolate fans are not reasonable. They want the texture, the shape, the flavors, and the price they already trusted. Once that disappears, buying chocolate becomes a search again. The next product takes us back to the freezer, and this one had people checking multiple stores before accepting the bad news. Number 7. Kirkwood Spicy Chicken Patties. Kirkwood Spicy Chicken Patties may be one of the most painful freezer losses because they were so useful. They were fully cooked, breaded, spicy chicken patties that could become a sandwich, a quick lunch, a lazy dinner, a protein add-on, or the thing you make when nobody wants to cook. That kind of product becomes part of real life very quickly. Aldi already has a cult following around certain frozen chicken products. The famous red bag chicken proved that shoppers will absolutely build loyalty around a frozen breaded chicken item if it tastes good and solves dinner. The spicy patties had that same type of appeal. They were easy. They had flavor. They felt like a small upgrade from plain chicken patties. And for people who like a little heat, they filled a freezer gap that was not easy to replace. Reports of clearance prices and empty freezer spots made shoppers nervous, and that is usually when Aldi fans know something is wrong. Clearance can mean many things, but at Aldi, it often feels like a warning bell. A bag of spicy chicken patties can rescue a busy week. It can stop a drive-through run. It can feed teenagers. It can become sandwiches, wraps, chopped salads, or quick snacks. When Aldi removes a product like that, the freezer may still be full, but the easy meal is gone. If you still see these in your local store, this is one of the few items where stocking up makes sense. Once a freezer favorite starts disappearing, waiting politely is how you lose. Subscribe if you want grocery updates before your favorite products quietly disappear, because the next few items show how Aldi shoppers are not just losing snacks. They may be losing entire meal shortcuts. The next product hits plant-based shoppers directly, and it shows a bigger pattern inside Aldi. Number 6. Earth-grown risotto. Mushroom. Veggie burgers. Earth-grown risotto. Mushroom veggie burgers were not just another veggie burger. They were part of a bigger promise. For a while, Aldi felt like it was becoming a surprisingly good place for plant-based shoppers. The Earth-grown line gave people affordable meatless options without forcing them into expensive specialty stores. That is why the shrinking of these products feels so personal to some shoppers. The risotto mushroom veggie burger had a different appeal from fake meat patties. It was not only trying to imitate beef. It had mushrooms, rice, vegetables, and a softer, more comfort food style. For shoppers who wanted a meatless option that did not taste like a science project, that mattered. Then products like this became harder to rely on. Plant-based shoppers notice these changes fast because their choices are already narrower. A regular shopper may lose one snack and move on. A vegan or vegetarian shopper may lose one of the few affordable freezer items that made weekly shopping easy. It is not only about one burger, it is about the feeling that the earth-grown section is becoming less predictable. Aldi shoppers can accept rotating seasonal finds. They expect that. What frustrates people is when something that feels like a regular solution starts acting like a temporary visitor. It worked for quick dinners, meatless lunches, and people trying to eat less meat without spending too much. When that disappears, the shopper does not just lose a patty. The next earth-grown item proves the problem was not limited to burgers. Number 5. Earth-grown meatless. Italian sausages. Earth-grown meatless. Italian sausages were exactly the kind of product Aldi should have kept. Sausages are practical. They go into pasta, they go on buns, they work with peppers and onions. They help people make fast dinners. A meatless version gives plant-based shoppers the same kind of easy meal structure that meat eaters take for granted. That is why shoppers loved them. They were not just a niche vegan product sitting in the corner. They were dinner support. The problem with losing products like this is that plant-based meals become harder to build quickly. A shopper may still find tofu, veggie burgers, or black bean patties, but that does not replace a sausage. Different shape, different meal, different use. A meatless sausage can turn pasta into a meal. It can make a quick sandwich. It can go beside roasted vegetables. It can help someone feed a mixed household where not everyone eats the same way. When Aldi removes it, the shopper has to rebuild those meals. Aldi has always been strongest when it makes specialty diets feel affordable. When those items disappear, shoppers feel pushed back toward more expensive stores. The sad part is that Earth-Grown had trust. People were willing to try new items under that label because the line had already delivered. When a trusted private label shrinks, shoppers do not only miss one package. They start wondering what else is next. The next item answers that question in the most annoying way possible. Number 4. Earth-Grown vegan meatballs. Earth-grown vegan meatballs may be the most painful plant-based phase-out on this list. They were simple, useful, and easy to build meals around. A vegan meatball does not need to be exciting every night. It needs to sit in the freezer and be ready when someone wants pasta, subs, rice bowls, party snacks, or a quick dinner that does not require thinking too hard. That is why shoppers get attached. A meatball is flexible. It is not locked into one meal. It can be Italian one night, barbecue another night, and lazy freezer dinner the next. Products like that earn their freezer space. When Aldi shoppers started noticing these meatballs disappearing, it felt like another sign that the plant-based section was getting less dependable. One vegan item disappearing could be a normal product change. Several earth-grown favorites disappearing starts to feel like a pattern. For shoppers who relied on Aldi to make plant-based eating cheaper, that pattern matters. Vegan and vegetarian products can be expensive at other stores. Aldi helped solve that problem for many people. Losing meatless sausages, burgers, and meatballs makes the weekly shop feel less complete. The replacement problem is also real. Other stores may sell vegan meatballs, but often at higher prices. That changes the budget. It also changes the habit. Aldi goes from being the main stop to being only part of the stop. Earth-grown vegan meatballs did both. That is why their disappearance hurts. The next product was not plant-based dinner. It was a summer-style drink line that made Aldi feel fun. Number 3. Belvie Bold Sparkling Water. Belvie 4. Bold sparkling water is the kind of product people expect Aldi to nail. Sparkling water is already a crowded category. La Croix, Bubbly, Waterloo, store brands, flavored seltzers, zero-sugar drinks, and every possible fruit combination are fighting for shelf space. Aldi's Belvie line gave shoppers a cheaper way to join that habit. Belvie Bold made it more interesting. The flavors were stronger. The cans felt more fun. For shoppers who wanted a bigger flavor than plain sparkling water usually gives, this line worked. It was the kind of thing people could buy for work lunches, summer coolers, pool days, or a fridge that needed something more exciting than water. Then the line disappeared. Aldi may still sell sparkling water. That is not the point. Belvy Bold had its own lane. It was for shoppers who wanted the bubbles but also wanted more flavor. Losing the whole line means the replacement is not obvious. This product also feels connected to summer. Sparkling water matters more when the weather gets hot, people want cold cans, and shoppers are filling coolers. Losing a bold-flavored seltzer before summer feels especially badly timed. The other problem is price. Name-brand sparkling water can add up quickly, especially for families who go through cans fast. Aldi made that habit feel cheaper. When the Aldi version disappears, shoppers either pay more somewhere else or settle for flavors they like less. The next product is older, louder, spicier, and still one of the Aldi disappearances shoppers keep talking about. Number 2. Pueblo Lindo. Taquitos rolled chips. Pueblo Lindo taquitos. Rolled chips are the kind of discontinued Aldi product people do not forget. These were Aldi's chili and lime-rolled tortilla chips. They were often compared to Takis, but fans argued they had their own flavor. A little less aggressive, more citrus, more Aldi price magic. A snack like this does not just sit in the pantry. It disappears during movies, road trips, late-night cravings, school lunches, and those moments when you open the bag just to try a few and suddenly half of it is gone. For a lot of shoppers, Pueblo Lindo taquitos were not just a Takis replacement. They were better for the price. That is why the discontinuation still bothers people. Aldi later carrying name-brand Takis may solve the category problem, but it does not solve the loyalty problem. If shoppers wanted Takis, they could buy Takis almost anywhere. The whole point was that Aldi had its own version, cheaper, different, and good enough to build a fan base. When that disappeared, it felt like Aldi traded one of its private label wins for something less special. That is the danger with store brands. When they are bad, nobody cares. When they are good, shoppers become protective. This is also why Aldi phase-outs feel different from normal grocery changes. Aldi shoppers are trained to hunt for value. When a high-value product disappears, it feels like losing a secret. The number one product is not the loudest item on the list, but it may be the one shoppers take most personally because you do not mess with people's coffee routine. Number 1. Friendly Farms Coconut Creme Coffee Creamer. Friendly Farms Coconut Creme Coffee Creamer takes the number 1 spot because coffee products are not just groceries. They are part of people's mornings. A snack disappearing is annoying. A freezer meal disappearing is frustrating. A coffee creamer disappearing can feel personal because it touches the first routine of the day. People do not want to renegotiate their coffee before they have even had their coffee. Coconut Creme Coffee Creamer had a specific job. It gave shoppers a sweet, creamy, tropical flavor that was different from the usual vanilla, caramel, hazelnut, and seasonal pumpkin parade. It made coffee feel like a small treat without requiring a cafe stop. Save money. Skip the expensive coffee run. Make home coffee feel good enough. When that creamer disappeared, some shoppers did not just lose a flavor. They lost a money-saving habit. That is why coffee creamers can create such strong reactions. They are not technically essential, but emotionally they become essential very quickly. Once a shopper finds the one that makes their coffee taste right, everything else feels slightly wrong. Aldi may offer other creamers. Aldi may bring in other coconut-flavored options under different labels. That still does not fully replace the product people already trusted. Friendly Farms Coconut Creme Coffee Creamer also shows the biggest lesson of this whole list. Aldi products can disappear quietly, even when they have loyal fans. Some are discontinued, some become seasonal, some vanish during resets. Some may come back later under a different label. At Aldi, love is risky. If you see the product, you buy it. If you wait until next week may not care about your feelings. Drop a comment with the Aldi product you still miss the most. Click the video on the left if you want to see the grocery items people are stocking up on before they disappear. If you want more shopping updates that save you from missing the good stuff, hit subscribe. I will see you in the next one.